Behind home plate, we bringing it to them all day. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Win or lose, we bringing it to you always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange or black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, the next generation of Baltimore sports talk. I am your endearingly stuttering host, Matt Sroka. As always, I'm joined by the button lover, Josh Sroka.
Hey, Matt. How you doing?
Good. I'm sweating a little bit. I just had this chicken jerk, chicken jerky.
Jerk chicken? Yeah.
I mean, it's like
it's a little spicy.
Like the beef jerky, but it's like a sriracha chicken one.
Okay.
And it's a little spicy. My nose is running. I ate it right before the show, and I'm regretting the decision.
Do you know what sriracha is?
Yeah, it's spicy.
That's the spicy part.
I know, but it just says sriracha really small in the corner, so I didn't realize.
No, you just showed the label. It was huge. As big as it says sriracha.
Okay, because I'm zooming in on sriracha. Chicken. The wrapper, though, is really big, so in comparison.
You called it a jerk chicken. It doesn't even say jerk on there. It says chicken sriracha.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Natural chicken used. Yeah. Anyway.
I think you know what you're doing. You're doing some Russian disinformation about that chicken.
There's no disinformation here. There's no fake news. No fake news. I can't. So, yeah. We got a couple things to get to in the show. I can't wait to hear Josh talk about the Ravens. We're going to get to that. I'm pumped about this.
I don't have any breaking news about the Ravens. We've had this conversation for like 3 weeks now.
I know, and I think every week I still think you're just as dumb as you were the week before.
Okay.
And I want to talk a little bit of World Series preview as well.
Disappointing it's not the Braves. But at least we get we'll root for the Rays.
Is that who we're rooting for?
Is there anyone on the Dodgers you like besides Mookie Betts?
I hate Mookie Betts.
Oh, see, I kind of like Mookie Betts.
I like Walker Buehler. I like Dustin May. I like those young pitchers.
I like Buehler.
And I would like to see Clayton Kershaw get a World Series.
And I like Kershaw. And I like Betts.
I especially like because Kershaw, people just crush him for his performance in the playoffs, and that gets annoying. So I kind of would like him to win.
Yeah, Mookie Betts I like because he's kind of, to me, now that he's not in Boston, he's kind of like a Mike Trout type character, where it's like he's just so good, it's hard not to like him.
Yes, it's true. He's amazing.
Right, but it's the Dodgers are just the Yankees of the National League West. It's like. So
you don't like them because they're rich. Down with rich people, down with rich teams. I see. Socialism, salary cap. Exactly, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. We need higher taxes for the Dodgers.
You know, Tampa Bay probably couldn't even field a team if it wasn't for people like the Dodgers paying their luxury tax or whatever to pay for teams like Tampa Bay to even exist.
That is true. But I wish some of that would help out the Orioles. But yeah, I don't know. I find it hard to root for the Dodgers, even though they haven't had it in forever. And I get that that's a cool baseball story. I just have trouble rooting for the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's cool in both respects, right? Because Tampa Bay has never won it, right? And it's been a while for the Dodgers. So either way, it's going to be a cool story.
Right. Are they? They're playing it in a bubble, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where are the games at? I don't even know where the games are at. Because the division games were in a couple. The championship series is in a couple different bubbles. Is this in Texas? Are they in Texas for this one?
Arlington, Texas.
Yeah. But
all right. I'm glad the Orioles didn't go to the World Series. Could you imagine if the Orioles went to the World Series and the game was played in Arlington? That you would have a World Series and it not be in Camden Yards? Forget fans there or not. That would suck.
Yeah, it would be unfortunate. It would
suck. It wouldn't be. Imagine winning the World Series and you can't be there to celebrate.
Yeah.
Imagine being Rays. Rays. How long have the Rays have been around for? What, 30 years or so? Not that long. 25 years, something like that.
Yeah, I think we're talking in the upper 20s, I would guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about 90s? Like 90.
I think 94 is when the Marlins
94?
came. So the Rays were after that. So maybe 20 years of the Rays.
Oh yeah, that might be true.
So all right. So I don't know any, but you could. I imagine you could be a lifelong Rays fan. But even think about a Dodgers fan. Dodgers fans that's more comparable because that's like an Oriole fan. That's someone who hasn't seen the World Series in a lifetime.
Right.
And imagine having that game and you can't go to it. That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm trying to agree with you, but I just can't.
Because you're like, either way, your team wins the World Series.
Right, and
I get it. That's
watching the playoff games for me, and I've been listening to a lot of playoff games on the radio as well, enjoying. But Buster Olney has been doing like he's not the two main guys. It's just is it Jessica Mendoza, I think, and then there's another guy, and then Buster Olney on the side. And I've been really enjoying the radio broadcast on ESPN, but and I've been watching the games too, and it has all the feels and excitement and the conversation around the playoffs. And so it feels, even with the crowd, it feels, and playing at these neutral locations, it feels like the playoffs.
And I would say that's because you are a baseball fan,
right,
not a diehard fan of either of these teams.
Well,
I think you would feel a little different if it was the Orioles. And it wasn't in Camden Yards, and it didn't have the warehouse in the backdrop, and you weren't able to go. You would feel a little different. It's still exciting.
I would feel different, but I would still want it. And there would be parades, and there would be cars flipped over and climbing up light posts in Baltimore. So
yeah,
I mean,
I think that's just your normal weekend.
Yeah, but that's just your normal weekend in Baltimore. No, but this would be I mean, I think that the celebrations in Baltimore would be similar.
Would be there.
Just more masks.
Yeah, it would be similar to if you saw like when the Tampa Bay Lightning won a few weeks ago, and they had a big celebration, or when the Lakers just won last week.
Yeah,
and there's a big celebration there.
Yeah,
same type of concept. It would just sting a little bit to not be able to be there. So okay. I'm glad. Let's get this pandemic stuff dealt with so that in 2023 we can go to games.
Yeah, you know what's something interesting to look at I wanted to bring up while we're talking about the World Series is I always look at these games as what can the Orioles learn from these World Series teams? How did they get there? What can we do to get there as well?
All right. Well, how do we get Mookie Betts on our team?
Yeah. Well, how did the Dodgers get Mookie Betts on their team, Josh?
Money and a big trade.
Yeah, a trade, and they extended him, so they'll have him further. But he's on the team this year because of a trade. If you look at their team, how they constructed their team, they actually did a lot to the draft. 10 of their players were drafted.
And if you look at a self-drafted. Bueller and Mays.
And their best players, Cody Bellinger, Clayton Kershaw, all those guys were drafted. So some of their best players, Jock Peterson, were drafted. And so their core was drafted players. Then they did acquire 7 players on this playoff roster, 7 from
That's
trades.
A lot. Yeah, 7 is a lot to pull in from trades.
Yeah, including Mookie Betts.
But again, it was by trades, not free agents. So they had enough in their farm system in order to make these trades.
Yeah, and then they did have 7 free agents, MLB free agents. But again, if you look at that list, a lot of those guys like Joe Kelly, Max Muncy, like bullpen arms.
Yeah, veterans that you can count on.
Yeah, and then 4 international free agents, which now we're just getting to the business.
All right. Hansu Kim, we started there.
Yeah.
And we haven't brought one in since.
But this sounds like reasonable for us to imitate, right? 10 drafted, 7 trades, 7 free agency, 4 international free agents. Yeah. Maybe the 7 free agency is a little bit high for us, but that sounds about right?
The 4 international sounds a little high, too.
Well,
but we're getting there.
Right. I don't know if they'll be ready by 2023 because most of those kids were 16 when we signed them last year. Yeah, that's true. But still, the core of the team was drafted. I mean, something else that both these teams have in common, and I'll talk about the Rays roster construction in a minute because they're fascinating, but something that both these things have in common is, Andrew Friedman is the GM of the Dodgers, and he famously came from the Tampa Bay Rays. He's the guy that got the Tampa Bay Rays to their first World Series, and he's very analytically driven. So is the new guy, the guy for Tampa Bay. I forget his name now, but he's like 37 years old, a young kid, analytically driven, just like Friedman. So both these teams use the analytics, the sabermetrics, all that stuff to form their team.
Yep.
The
All
Rays.
Right.
Let's
so
talk about
we're following that plan.
Yeah. Do you know in the Rays roster, how many guys would you say were drafted and developed by the Rays and are now on the Major League squad?
20.
That's what I would have said. You know what the number is? 5.
Wait, where? Is this because the Rays they develop their pitchers and then they trade
And
them?
they trade them all away, Josh.
So they bring in all these guys?
Yeah.
That's how they built this team?
15 trades. There's 15 players on the 28-man roster who were acquired via trades.
Okay.
5 in the draft, 3 in MLB free agency, 3 international free agency. Look at the roster breakdown, and it says 2 other. What are the other? But
off the street tryouts.
The draft are guys like Kevin Kiermaier, Brandon Lowe, Blake Snell, a lot of their best players. But the trades is their shortstop, Nick Anderson, of course, famously Arizarena, Jim Manchoy, are all trades, often from.
So those, yeah.
From these stud pitchers.
You said it was two others. I believe that is an undrafted free agent and then 1 Rule 5 pick. Is those others? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. You pulled that. You pulled that up fast.
I've got. I really like The Athletic, and it's on their World Series preview page.
Oh really? I'm on a CBS article, but. But that's so good for them. I thought there'd be no Rule 5 representation because when the Orioles get to the World Series, it's going to be like 10 Rule 5 guys.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be 5 Rule 5s, 10 from your own system, and whatever 5 trades.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about the Orioles, there are even quite a bit of trades already, right? Like Dean Kramer is a trade guy, even though he's been in our farm system.
No, the truth is when the Orioles make it, you'll have Kramer, which will be listed as a trade. You might have Diaz, which will be listed as a trade.
Yeah.
You will have Santander listed as Rule 5.
Yeah.
Some of these pitchers some of the other pitchers in our bullpen were also trades.
Yeah, your Evan Phillips. Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have farm system guys. Our own guys would be Trey Mancini and
Ryan
Mountcastle and
of course
Austin Hayes.
Yep, Adley Rutschman, Cedric Mullins. I think
we'll have 7.
If you compare our roster, I think our roster would be more drafted than these rosters.
Yeah, that's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dodgers have 16 drafted players. Yeah. I don't know if we'll get up to 16, but maybe we will. But you're right. I would have never guessed.
No. The Dodgers have 10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine says,
The Athletic says.
The Athletic says that there are 16 that they acquired through the draft.
Oh.
So I don't
that's
know.
International free agents. Okay, I'm seeing something different.
It is nope. They also have 6 international free agents, according to this.
And how many trades? How many trades and MLB free agents?
9 trades.
Okay, see, you're looking at the 60-man roster or something, right?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Or the 40-man.
No, 40-man.
Yeah, I'm talking about the 28-man postseason roster.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, I'm looking at the 40-man that got him there.
Okay. So, but anyway, part of the point is though both teams are kind of sabermetrically inclined, there's more than one way to build a team. Like you have to draft, but then you also have to trade well, and you also have to use the international free agency, and you also have to sign some guys in the MLB free agency. Like you just can't do this all. I know we're obsessed, or our fans are obsessed with getting a top 3 draft pick, but you can't build an entire roster off draft picks. But I will say, guys like Blake Snell and Cody Bellinger, like key pieces on each team, were drafted and developed. So I don't think you see in the majors now just a team do all free agents to make the team. Like, you need to draft great players. And then Tampa Bay with the route of trading their Chris Archers and stuff to their star pitchers to replenish their farm system, which is now coming to fruition. And I think that's less likely for us, but hopefully some of these trades work out, because you can't draft 28 guys to be on your World Series roster. You have to trade for some of them. You have to sign some of them in free agency. You have to get some with international free agency. So it's all these things working in tandem when you see these rosters constructed.
Yeah, I agree.
And not very many Rule 5 guys.
No, but Orioles will have at least one, probably two, when we get to that point.
You think so?
I mean, Santander's going to be there. There's our one.
Is Richie Martin going to be the other one?
I haven't heard. Richie Martin, did he make an appearance this year? He did not, right?
No, he was hurt all year.
That's right. He got hurt at spring training. Wasn't he doing well at spring training, and then he got hurt?
Yeah, there was talk as he couldn't be the starting second baseman, and there was debate.
Yeah,
with
so
that.
maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I think this jury is definitely still out on Richie Martin.
Right, and I'm sure we're going to do a Rule 5 pitcher next year again, as well. That's what we do.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, hopefully as it gets closer, we'll. I mean, is it worth it? I mean, I guess you can always now forever we'll cite the examples as Santander and ignore, like, what pitcher has it worked out for? What Rule 5 pitcher has
Darren
worked
O'Day.
out? Yeah,
it did.
It was now like 40. Yeah,
it did though.
Okay, fine.
I mean, he was the playoff pitcher.
Yeah, but the odds are so low with that. But I guess if you have space in your roster, do it.
What, do you want me to bring in Jose Bautista as another example?
Yeah, again, but see,
or was it David Wells? Was he a Rule 5?
I don't know, was he? But the fact is that you have to recall that far ago, Ryan Flaherty, to
I wouldn't count him as a successful.
But you have to. Oh, I would. You have to go that far to come up with names in the Rule 5. Proves, and every year people get taken in the Rule 5 draft. Proves how hard it is. Even Santander, I mean, we lucked out with him because he was injured half the season for us in his Rule 5 year. So he spent most of the year not even with the Orioles squad. So I feel like that's what you got to do. You got to draft some injured dude who you can hide away for his entire year and then bring him up when he's a little bit older. But
the internet says that Johan Santana is the greatest Rule 5 pick of all time.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
That's only about 20 years ago.
The Dodgers have none, and the Rays just have one, and he's not a key piece. So.
Yeah, true.
Take that.
But no, it is nice that here we are. We're at the World Series. First game's tomorrow. It's time to go. And there were many people who thought we wouldn't get here or shouldn't get here, and baseball worked it out. And baseball got a season in, and we get some World Series baseball at the right time, at the end of October, just like it should be.
Josh, I forgot to pull this up. I pulled it up, and then I don't know what I did with it. I thought I liked it. That's usually what I just do. If I want to talk about something on the show, I see it on Twitter, I'll like it. And not because I really like the tweet, just because I want to talk about it later, and so I can easily find it. But maybe I took a picture of it.
I don't know if you do. If I want to tweet, I screenshot it.
Yeah, I think I actually did for this one. I don't know if you saw this as far as the ratings. Have you been paying attention to what the ratings are just in sports across sports?
I know. I know basketball plummeted this year for the playoffs, and they're trying to. Some people believe that's because of the social issues that basketball is the most outspoken about. Football has been okay. The numbers I've seen.
Here are the ratings. All right, I'll put the facts in here.
All right, give me some facts.
The NBA Finals.
Way down.
Down 49%.
That's gigantic. That's a huge drop-off.
But even other events like the U.S. Open, the Tennis Open, down 45%. The Kentucky Derby, down 43%.
I will say the Kentucky Derby, and then we just had Preakness recently. Kentucky Derby was back in June. I understand that was way down. But we just had Preakness. And I didn't even realize Preakness was then.
Yeah, I didn't
because they moved the date. When you change the date, you better spend some marketing dollars to let everyone know. I didn't know it was Preakness until the next day.
The Stanley Cup playoffs down.
Yep.
Hockey down 38%.
Okay.
I don't have the NFL in here, but the college football season was down. It has been down thus far 30%.
Yeah, that's a tough one to judge because how much of that 30% is the fact that some teams still haven't kicked off yet?
Baseball, Major League Baseball,
up. Baseball's up.
down 26%.
Really?
Yes.
That seems a little strange. I wonder how much of that is the effect of you can't go to games, so it's not top of mind.
But Josh, it's all the sports are down. The NFL is cut off, but it's down a small percentage because it's less than 16%. But it's down some. But Josh, how does one explain every single sport? And honestly, I would have thought the opposite, right? Because we're still, especially at the beginning with people in lockdown, we were desperate for sports. Sports have been gone for a while. I would have thought the ratings would have been through the roof for these things. The ratings are through the roof for debates, but they're down for all the sporting events.
All right.
Any thoughts on how that happens? As
of week 4, so 2-3 weeks ago, the NFL was down 10%.
Okay, down 10%.
So
that fits with the trends.
Yeah, here's the problem. You have outside of Florida, sports bars are shut down. So you've lost that social aspect of sports. We've talked about how sports bring people together. You have lost a lot of that, which hurts viewership and hurts the excitement.
You would think, though, Josh, I would think if bars aren't open, more people would be watching at home, but I guess not.
Here's the deal. I didn't watch. I watched bits and pieces of these playoff games. I never watched 5 innings all at once. I haven't watched half of one of these playoff games.
That's true. I've been turning off and on, and I've been coming late to games and going to bed early.
I would, if it was a normal year, I would be more into these games because I would be watching it with other people who are fans of the Braves or whatever. It's weird because society is different right now, and it's twofold. It is, one, we are all stressed and burned out from this pandemic. And it doesn't matter, you don't feel it day to day, but it naturally is. Going to work is more stressful simply because of the pandemic. For you, you're having to teach online. That's not easier. That's a whole different thought process. For me, I'm still out in the field and dealing with people who have COVID and stuff and juggling all that. So
people are generally more stressed out. It's true.
Then on top of that, you add this political season that we've never seen a political season like this, where it's dividing the country even more, and it's making it so. And we also have this situation where politics used to be something that was on its own bubble, and if I wanted to avoid politics, I could just watch sports. The fact that the NFL is down 10%, only 10%, is pretty amazing when you think a few years ago, it was the NFL getting all the hatred because of kneeling.
Yeah, I'm surprised there are any football fans left for how many people on Twitter says they're done watching football.
Right. People said they were done watching football. We had one person who quit our fantasy football because he was done watching because of Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Or in support of Colin Kaepernick.
In support of Kaepernick against the NFL, anti-NFL.
He dropped our fantasy football league and says he doesn't watch the NFL.
Apparently the NFL was getting it from both ends, right? People rejected them for being for not embracing Colin Kaepernick, and people rejected them for taking these. So
the fact that the NFL is only down 10% is pretty impressive.
Especially given the NBA Finals being down 50%.
Right.
Josh, do you think it has anything to do with, I saw someone talking about it, during the pandemic, we got even more hooked on things like Netflix and Hulu and on-demand streaming stuff, and sports is not streaming on-demand?
No, because I don't know about you, but I've burned out of stuff to watch on. Like, I've scrolled Netflix. Anything that I'm interested in, I've already watched. I mean, I do keep finding new stuff. I think I would also add that people in the past year, we've had more people ditching cable. And sports has not done a good job embracing streamers, especially in-market streamers. The Orioles baseball makes it really easy for me to stream Oriole games. They make it a huge pain for you to stream Oriole games. It's not right.
It's really not that hard, though, illegally to watch Oriole games.
Yeah, but illegally streams don't count towards their viewership numbers.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I would pay money if they would let me, but they won't. So then, yeah.
Right, exactly. But then the NFL does the other way, where NFL is really good at shutting down illegal streams.
Yeah. And let me ask you a question.
And they have a way for you to pay.
When I watched the Ravens and Eagles game, I tried to watch on my TV because they got the CBS app. They kept on skipping out. So I ended up watching it. You know, you can just watch it on your phone or iPad. I ended up watching it on my iPad. Does that contribute to their ratings if I watch it on the iPad?
Yeah, because it's through the CBS app. Yeah.
It's through the NFL app.
Yeah, that counts. Yeah. As long as, because they like that even more, because then they can really track you.
Yeah. Oh my.
They know exactly where you're watching. I use the Sunday Ticket, and that counts towards viewerships. Yeah. So I think it's a combination of the pandemic. Sports is not important to a lot of people anymore, because you've got the political stuff going on where people really feel this is a life or death issue. There's people on both sides that believe this is the most important thing in their lifetime, what's going on now politically.
Yes.
Plus, you've got the pandemic issues. Plus, you've got not socializing issues. Plus, you've got all these people moving to streaming. And that is going to hurt your TV ratings. And you can't have people at the games and come to the games, so you can't build up the excitement of watch the game out of town and come to the home game. That's all going to hurt sports.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And you started off beginning about the bars. I think I'd never thought about that before. It's true, though. Like, even at work, if I knew I was going to see some coworkers and we were going to talk about the game last night, I'd be more likely to watch the game last night. But I know I'm not going to see any coworkers, so that incentive of having that to talk about the game is lessened then. This
weekend, we were text messaging a little bit with Mashane, our friend who's a Braves fan.
Right. Sorry,
if it was a normal year, there's a good chance we watched the game with him.
Yeah, sure.
Even though we're not Braves fans.
Yeah.
So all that adds up, and I'd say, the impressive thing is that the NFL is only 10% down.
Yeah. Yeah. But all this has to affect the finances of the Orioles and other teams, right? Or no?
The team's finances are already screwed because of fans not being in games.
Right, but doesn't this... I guess I don't know how it's like. Is the? I mean, do they get a portion of it? Or
that's where you got to look team by team. Like the Orioles viewership might have been up slightly this year because they were actually kind of an exciting, fun team to watch this year.
Yeah, I mean the fans were down just because school was going on. The city of Baltimore is dangerous.
Right.
The beer prices. I mean, that's why fan attendance was down.
And that's that goes back to my argument that sports has not done a good job reaching the next generation.
Yeah.
Through streaming and stuff. I was reading somewhere that Disney is considering shutting ESPN down. And I said, that sounds crazy. And then I think about our childhood, where you watch SportsCenter every single morning.
Yeah, it was every single morning. Wake up early to see what happened after you fell asleep.
Right, and then as adults, PTI and Around the Horn were my go-to every day when I come home from work.
Yep.
Why do I need SportsCenter, Around the Horn, or PTI anymore when all of those clips and all those talking heads are on my phone at any moment? I don't need to wait until 5 o'clock to hear what Tony Kornheiser has to say.
Yeah, I haven't watched an episode of PTI in probably 5 years, and I listen to the podcast almost every day. Yeah.
And you know what? Around the Horn, I haven't watched that in forever, but I follow Woody Page and all those guys on my phone.
Yeah.
So I get their thoughts way sooner and don't have to watch the recording and don't have to watch commercials. So then I look at it, and ESPN is paying. Remember how every sports season or every 4 years it would come out how ESPN paid this record amount for the streaming rights for Sunday Night Baseball or Monday Night Football. And now you look at it and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? You don't need that. And I think it's going to take something like ESPN shutting down to get to this next level of sports, where we need, and you're starting to see it. You've got the NFL Network and you've got the MLB channel. And those are great. And I like both. There's shows on both of those channels that I like. And I think that's
with the playoffs,
start.
it gets complicated, right? Because you got to have the freaking TBS. Like if you're like me, you don't have cable. You got to have the freaking TBS subscription app, and not just the app. Like you got to, they want a cable. I got to make up a cable password.
You got to swindle someone's cable password.
Exactly. And then the other games are on Fox Net, on Fox Sports 1 or whatever. But I can't watch the games on the MLB at Bat app, even though I have that.
We are in a weird
thing.
We are in a weird technology time frame, and this is going to change soon, where you and I using apps is the future, but it's got to be figured out, and the cable contracts have to move on, and we're going to find ourselves not paying Comcast or Verizon. We're going to pay the NFL and Major League Baseball and the NBA, or they're all going to get together, and we're going to have a pro sports package that they all divide up. And then that way we can click on the little Ravens app and get all the Raven games.
Right. And that's what I'm, to a certain extent, already doing, right? I pay, $5 a month for the CBS app just so I can watch the Ravens games. And you pay for just the little apps that you need so you can watch your sports.
Right. I pay DirecTV for the NFL ticket. I pay Major League Baseball for the MLB package, whatever they call it.
But I can't get, Josh, the
MLB
NFL
TV.
Red Zone on my TV. Why is that?
Because you're not paying the NFL.
But even if I pay the NFL, I can't get the Red Zone. Can I? They said you need to have some kind of package.
Yeah, because they don't sell it on their own. Because
I just want the Red Zone.
Because there's deals with cable companies.
Yeah.
So I get the Red Zone because I'm paying DirecTV for it.
Yeah, but I just want to get the Red Zone app and pay for the Red Zone.
Right. Yeah, and that's why right now it sucks.
Yeah.
And sports has to figure this out, and hopefully, I know they're all going to use COVID as an excuse, but what they need to do is step back and say, all right, all of our sports are down. What do we need to do right? Hey, why is the NFL only down 10%? Sure, it's because they're the big guys.
I got fantasy football.
And they got fantasy football. And gambling, and they've embraced all of that. Mm-hmm. But it's also that they may have, because they still do local blackouts.
Yep.
Just like baseball. Baseball is the one, I guess, who originally had the streaming with MLB TV, but because of these deals with cable companies, they have all these local blackouts. That's what's got to be fixed.
Yeah. Josh, I just want to live in a world. I just want my son to grow up in a world where he can get the MLB at Bat app and watch Oriole games while living on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and where my son can get the NFL Red Zone app and then just pay for the NFL Red Zone. That's all. And
we'll get there. I remember as a kid, we didn't have HTS, so we listened to a lot of games on the radio. Mm-hmm. And I remember being in New York State camping and still being able to get the Oriole games on WBAL radio, because that antenna was so strong at the time that I could tune to 1090 and get the Orioles games. That has changed as cell towers went up and radio stations no longer have the range that they have. But now that we have a computer in our pocket constantly, and we've got this 5G rolling out, which is designed for even more things to be connected to the internet all the time, all at once, sports has to figure this out.
Yeah, well, now you're making me nostalgic for radio, and now I want to get rid of all the phones and just go back to camp trips with the Oriole game on.
No, but it's progress.
Yeah.
When we were kids, you would go camping and listen to the Orioles on the radio, and you would lay in bed and listen to the radio game falling asleep. You would sneak an earbud into school to listen to the Oriole day games.
Yeah.
Today, kids do the exact same thing, except they're not just listening. They're watching the game on their phones in bed. They're watching the games camping. They're watching the games at school. And sports needs to step up and get behind this. And just like the NFL was really smart to embrace gambling, it has really helped them out in their viewership, and it has taken fantasy football to the next level. Major League Baseball has to do the exact same thing, because especially with this real-time fantasy football, like DraftKings type stuff, baseball can embrace that just as much as the NFL. There's a market there that they need to embrace.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I agree with all that. Hey, can we talk about some Ravens?
Yeah, I don't remember how we got on this topic. I guess Ravens being down.
Yeah, because I took that screenshot of the Ravens just because I know that always gets you fired up.
Well, I mean, it's true, and it's a good discussion now that we're past the Orioles season. Yeah. What do you want to talk Ravens? You want to talk the screenshot I sent you earlier today?
If you want to go there, you can go there, Josh.
With Joe Flacco, number 21 overall, most passing yards ever in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right behind Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, it shows how much the game has changed, right?
It does. And it shows you how much when Joe Flacco was a Raven, all they did was throw the ball. Thankfully, now we have a team that doesn't need to throw the ball all the time.
Yeah, I tell you what, Josh, the stupid Ravens cost me some money on Sunday. I bet they cost you some money, too.
Oh, yeah.
I was so happy because I got them early. Because you always got to get the Ravens early because the number always goes up. So I got them early at 7.5 favorites.
Oh, you beat me. I got them at 8.
Yeah,
I was like, 8, no problem.
I got 7.5, and I was like pumped. And then they just.
I then doubled down at 10 as well. And when they were up like 24 or whatever in the fourth quarter, I went in my book and checked that off as a green, as in it's a win. No problem.
I did too.
And man, that team fell apart.
Yeah. For now on, I'm just betting Ravens first half scores. I'm not betting.
And what's here? I'm excited to do film study. Tonight I'll record film study focused on the defense with Ken McCusick and Sarah Ellison's the guest tonight.
Oh, nice. She's great.
Tomorrow we'll do. Yeah, she's great.
Okay.
Tomorrow we'll do the offense, and I'm not sure who the guest is. I haven't looked, but I'm interested to see how that conversation goes, because as a average fan watching the game, if I didn't watch the game and saw the score of 30-28, I would say, man, our defense sucks. It was a shootout.
Right.
But if you watch the game, our defense had a great game. They had some interception opportunities that they missed, but they still played a really good game. Our offense struggled to do anything yesterday and got 28 points, in a large part thanks to the defense putting them in positions to score. Because besides those times that they scored, they were quickly handing the ball right back over. It was a weird game.
It was just kind of a bizarre game, because you could argue the interceptions. I could also argue there was two guys that were wide open for huge plays that the receivers just dropped. One was a touchdown, and one was that huge pass to Hightower.
Right.
So there were some, I think, mistakes on defense. But overall, I tell you what, Calais Campbell, that dude is a man.
Yeah. I really like Calais Campbell. That guy is huge.
Yeah.
And all right, let's talk defense. This team defensively has a lot of fun players.
They do. They're one of the most likable defenses I can remember since the Ray Lewis, Ed Reed days.
Yeah, when Marlon Humphrey goes in for it, grabs the guy, and starts punching.
He just punches, just haymakers.
And if he doesn't get the ball out, you know that's got to sting just from him punching the guy. If he misses and gets you in the ribs,
he's forced fumbles in what is it, 3 or 4 straight games?
I don't know. But what he's doing is correct. I was talking to a guy from the Jags today. I should have brought him up and asked him about it. I will later this week. I'll try to get some insight on that. Yeah. Name drop.
Yeah.
Cornerback for the Jags. I was talking with earlier today. So he's buying a new house. Down
not Jalen Ramsey. He was traded.
No. Trey Herndon.
Okay.
Is buying a house down here in Jacksonville, which makes sense since it's the Jags.
Yeah.
So I was talking with him today. I'll have to ask him about Marlon Humphrey. But Calais Campbell came up because he's from Jacksonville. We got him from the Jags. And I mean, yeah, but he's really fun to watch. I love him on the Ravens. And Tysus Bowser and Patrick Queen are really stepping up to be really fun young kids that are getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't have strong feelings about Tyus Bowser, but I tell you what.
Well, Queen
is freaking
added excitement because this is his rookie year.
Yeah, and he seems to be legit. I mean, he only had 2 tackles yesterday, but he was out in a lot of coverages, and he can stick with running backs and tight ends, and he's fast and he can hit. I'm a fan of his as well. But
that's something I didn't really expect from the defense this year is how many guys there are on there that are just fun to watch.
The other guy that you didn't mention that I think is really fun to watch is Deshaun Elliott.
Yes.
I like Deshaun Elliott at safety. The Joker. He is aggressive. He seems to have good kind of those football instincts. I don't want to compare him to Ed Reed, but just how Ed Reed was so famous for the instincts. He seems to always be around the ball.
Right. And, of course, we're not even mentioning Judon and McPhee, guys who have been, like, reliable guys in the past who are still part of this team.
Yeah. And guys we know like Jimmy Smith, who've been around for a while. So I think I agree with you. This defense is fun, and I agree the offense, in a weird way, kind of let the defense down yesterday.
Yeah, and the score does not tell you that, and that's what's really weird.
Yeah, the score doesn't tell you that, Josh, but also we're a better team than the Eagles, right? Like, if we play them 10 times, we probably win at least 9, maybe all 10 of them.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, that Hurts kid for the Eagles, I don't know why you don't just bench Wentz now and go to Hurts. That kid's exciting.
Yeah, I disagree. I think Wentz is really good, but the offensive line is terrible. The receivers were dropping balls. The only receiver I've ever even heard of is Hurts in that whole squad. So I do agree that I think it's especially if you're a bad team, you need to find a way, and your offense is struggling, and you have a bad offensive line. Jalen Hurts should be in there a lot more than just a couple plays.
Right.
But it's almost like what we had a few years ago with the Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson type thing.
Right. When we were trying to make them both work, and it was clear that it was time to move on. Not quite there, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz, I think, is better than Joe Flacco was at the time, but yeah.
I do. I agree. But it seemed like every time Hurts came out there, it was a successful play.
Right, it was. But and talking about the offense real quick, wasn't it encouraging that we saw a little bit of old Lamar Jackson? I mean, he rushed for over 100 yards. He had that one bust up the middle. Like the week before, he was refused to run. So wasn't it kind of fun to see him? There was a couple of design runs, and a couple of times he just took off. And I feel like that's what's missing from this offense, kind of 100%. The Lamar on the feet. And we saw that, and we won the game because Lamar ran for 100 yards. That's why we won.
And it took a while for Lamar to get going. First few possessions of the game, he was not running.
Right, and his passing has been subpar this year.
The way those guys open up is by making you think Lamar's going to run.
Yes.
And in order for people, it's like running a play action when you haven't ran the ball all game. If you're not going to show that, then no one's going to expect that.
Right.
So, yeah, Lamar has to run. It's like we all know, what makes Lamar Lamarvelous is his feet. And I get that he wants to work on his arm. He needs to be a better passer, especially this year. But in order for him to be special, he has to use his best gift, which is the ability to run and maneuver.
Yeah, Josh, do you think, I tend to think that some people like you and others are a little bit, your expectations, I mean, he did win the MVP last year, but your expectations for a 23-year-old guy is still learning how to play the game in the NFL, and it's kind of his second full year. I think your expectations are a little bit ridiculous.
All right,
do you think it's fair?
Here's the deal. The Ravens are 5-1. I get that it sounds silly to hate on a 5-1 team.
It really does.
All right. Here's the problem. the expectations that this team has set up is that when they get to the big game, they blow it. So until they can prove that they can win a big game, it's very frustrating because you expect teams to improve year to year. And from last year to this year, there is nothing that has shown improvement. Lamar Jackson puts a lot of pressure on himself. When he saw that $100 million that Patrick Mahomes got, he wants that himself too. And I'm wondering if that's where the passing's coming from. But the way he wants that money, what did Patrick Mahomes do after he won MVP? Next year, he won the Super Bowl. Lamar has to do the same thing. Lamar has to make that progression. Lamar has proven that he is MVP. Lamar has proven that he can win the division. Lamar has proven that he can make it to the playoffs. What has Lamar not proven? That he can win the big game, that he can beat the Chiefs, that he can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he hasn't proven. He's 24-4 as a starter.
I know.
3 of those losses come to the Chiefs. You're right. He hasn't proved that he can beat the Chiefs, who I would argue just all around are a better football team. But
all
okay.
Right. Step 2. Lamar has not proven that he can win when behind.
Okay.
He is whatever 23-0 in games where this team leads at the half.
Yep.
I like Lamar. Lamar's great. He's a really good quarterback. He has to take that next level, and I'm not seeing it this year. I wonder how much not having a preseason affected it, and if that's why they're throwing more. Here's the thing I'll say about yesterday. I do not mind the sidearm throw. I think he is great at it. But we saw this yesterday. What happens with sidearm throws is if you don't get it right, it's easy to bat them down. And we saw them batted. The other thing with sidearm throws is you cannot throw a sidearm throw deep. You're not Darren O'Day. You're not going to get that huge launch angle with a sidearm football throw. And that's part of what's missing. I don't think he had any over-the-shoulder throws yesterday. And that's a concern. And I know that's what he's working on. And I know the passing game is what he needs to prepare for. But these teams that we've played were 5-1. We've played 5 bad teams. None of those teams that we've beaten have been good. This is our bye week.
Yeah.
Then we get the Steelers. Then we get the Colts.
Yeah.
Or is it Steelers, Browns, Colts, or something like that?
I
don't know.
I think the Cowboys are in there somewhere. I mean, it's a tough stretch.
These are good teams.
Yeah.
Next 5 games are against good teams.
Right.
You have to do better against these teams than you did against the Eagles.
Okay, that might be true. But I did see yesterday the Patriots lose to the Broncos. So even good teams lose to bad teams every week in the NFL. And I'll say this, Josh.
The Patriots are not going to the Super Bowl.
And according to you, the Ravens aren't either because their 23-year-old quarterback hasn't fully developed as a passer yet, and he needs to right now, according to Josh Soroka.
All right, if we play on Sunday against the Chiefs, who wins?
Josh, the Chiefs, because Patrick Mahomes, I said it last year, Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback. The Chiefs are a better team than the Ravens. That's not Lamar Jackson's fault. He's not going to wake up tomorrow and have Tyreek Hill to throw to or Travis Kelce to throw to. It's not going to happen.
This team, we've done this for years where the Ravens were built to beat the Steelers. Built to beat the Steelers. Built to beat the Steelers.
Yeah, and we're going to beat the Steelers again.
Yeah, I know. This team, well, maybe. This team
we are.
Has lost to the Chiefs now 3 times.
Yeah.
This team needs to be built to beat the Chiefs.
Okay, fine.
I think this team is built to beat the Chiefs. The problem is, in order to beat the Chiefs, you have to throw the ball. If Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown caught the balls when we played the Chiefs, we may have won that game.
Yeah, and we go back.
This team has to go.
And we go back to the Titans game, and I would argue all day that we lost the Titans, but the coaching staff had more, and the play calling had more to do with losing that game than Lamar Jackson did.
Oh, and I agree. I think 2 weeks ago when we weren't running the ball, I don't put that on Lamar. I put that on the coaching staff. because it wasn't just Lamar's not running. We weren't even handing the ball off to run.
Right.
This week we got back to the run, and we started using Dobbins more for the run and stuff. So that was good. And I can't blame the coaching on there because the coaching was calling some running plays.
Right. But I think we're so quick, again, to blame all the ills on the 23-year-old quarterback. And, again, I would argue if we had yesterday, if we had anyone else, not anyone else, but if we had Joe Flacco behind there or Robert Griffin, we lose to the Eagles by 10 points. Right? Like Lamar Jackson's feet won us the game, and yet we're unhappy because he's not Patrick Mahomes. And I'm sorry, he's not Patrick Mahomes at this point in his career.
Right. But when you talk about wanting to win the Super Bowl, it sucks. Yeah, and I explained this I was talking to an Eagles fan yesterday, and I said, unfortunately, the Ravens are in a weird spot where if they don't blow the Eagles out, it's a disappointing win.
For you.
And it's not just me. Many Raven fans are that way.
I don't think as many Raven fans are Super Bowl or bust as you are.
I think a lot are. And part of it is that we're jaded. The Ravens make the playoffs every year. Even before Lamar, we made the playoffs almost every year.
Yep.
We're jaded by the playoffs. We want more. So we want that Super Bowl. And I think, I don't know, part of it is these games have kind of been ho-hum games. It's like, oh, yeah, we won another one. Nothing special.
Well, Josh, I thought, like, you know what? I thought maybe the problem was last year. I remember that Miami game to start the year. Like, last year we were just, like, blowing people out, and maybe we don't have the same explosive offense that we did last year that we do this year. But then I saw an interesting tweet by our boy Ryan Blake who said this. 2019, last year, the Ravens threw 6 games, same number of games. They had a record of 4-2. They had scored 184 points and gave up 140 points. This year, 2020, we're 5-1. We haven't scored 184 points. We've only scored 179 points, but we've given up 104 points compared to 140 points. So our point differential is actually better than last year, and our record is better than last year, which I found a little surprising.
Yeah, yesterday didn't help, but we were like leading the league in point differential.
Yes.
At one point. I know. I get it. And
it's obnoxious for all of it's obnoxious for me that every time I turn on the radio I hear people complaining about Lamar Jackson and about the Ravens who are 5-1. It's obnoxious.
I don't have a problem with Lamar Jackson. I think he needs I didn't like that there were no overhand throws yesterday because I think that's the
I don't know what you're talking about. No
overhand
throws. Surely he had overhand throws.
I don't think he did.
Every single throw was sidearm.
Yes.
No. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
Check it.
I'm going to go back and watch the tape. Where's film study when you need him? That is not possible.
I'll ask Ken. I believe when because
I would like a breakdown. I don't know if Ken knows. I would like a breakdown of like overhand, over the shoulder, over sidearm completion percentage. I think it'd be interesting. Some stats to break down there.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Ken about this tomorrow on the offensive podcast because I started paying attention probably at halftime and noticing because it was at the same time that I was like, man, Marquise Brown doesn't have a catch. And then I started watching, and it was like, oh, well, you're not going to hit Brown with these sidearm things going deep. So, yeah, I don't know how you look that stat up, but I believe it's something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's another interesting thing, though, right? Like, the disappearance of Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews, like at certain halves and even games, they just seem to disappear, which I think is concerning as well. And that's always hard to tell. How much is that on Lamar Jackson? How much is that on play calling? How much is that on the receivers?
Right. Exactly. And that's something without, like, I'm not a type of guy that's going to go watch the All-22 and the overhead cameras and stuff. So I have no idea if our wide receivers are getting open because if they don't get open and don't get the ball thrown to them, they don't show us.
Right.
So I have no idea.
But I do know that the Eagles had a lot of trouble stopping tight ends. And yet Mark Andrews, I thought Mark Andrews had a big game, but Mark Andrews was pretty quiet. I think Boyle had a better game than Mark Andrews. But but that's kind of to be expected. Mark Andrews has been our leading receiver, leading touchdowns, and all that. So you would expect he would be double teamed, he would be hit inside, that they would try to shut him down.
If you're gonna play the Ravens defensively, you say let's shut down Mark Andrews and keep Lamar in the pocket.
Josh,
that's how you beat the Ravens.
Josh, I just don't want the Ravens to go 14-2 and you to be miserable the whole time about it.
I'm not miserable.
Okay. I just don't want you. No, but Josh, when you watch the game, you're thinking about. I watch your tweets. You never tweet when they make a good play. You only tweet when they go 3 and out. And I just want to make sure you're enjoying the experience of having one of the best teams and one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. I just want to make sure you're enjoying the season.
All right. Who's a better quarterback, Lamar or Patrick Mahomes?
I've been saying it. Even when Lamar won the MVP, I said Patrick Mahomes is better.
All right. Is Lamar a top 5 quarterback?
I think Lamar's number 2. If I had to draft quarterbacks right now, I would take Mahomes 1 and Lamar 2.
See? I don't know about that.
Who would you take above Lamar Jackson right now? Tom Brady?
I think Deshaun Watson's interesting.
Oh, get out of here. We always beat the Texans by 50 points.
I think Josh Allen is interesting.
Oh, stop it. Josh Allen is a poor man's Lamar Jackson. Get out of here.
I know. I think he has a better arm. I think Lamar has the higher ceiling, but I think these guys are impressive. I think these guys are doing better at the quarterback position right now.
Oh, I think you're insane for that take. Yeah, I could make an argument with Patrick Mahomes, but give me Lamar Jackson over anybody else outside of Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. I've got the NFL QB rankings. This is from September. Never mind.
No.
I don't see updated rankings.
Yeah, but those rankings are weird too, because how do you judge what Lamar can do on his feet and stuff? That's hard because he's just so different from everybody else.
Well, if you want to see Week 6 power rankings, you got Russell Wilson number 1, Aaron Rodgers number 2, Patrick Mahomes number 3, Josh Allen number 4, Tannehill number 5, Watson number 6, Lamar number 7.
Yeah, that's disrespectful to the Super Bowl, the NFL MVP. That's disrespectful.
I like all those guys, and I can see all those guys in the top 5 except for Tannehill. Tannehill doesn't belong in that mix.
Tannehill had a couple good weeks. He went all Joe Flacco playoffs on him.
Right, but I always forget about Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson might be better than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument all around team leader, what he does on the field, bringing the bag,
what
he's
he
done
does
it for
on his
longer
own versus the wide receivers.
Yeah.
The fact that I think Russell Wilson throws the prettiest pass in football.
Yeah. Like you could convince me. Not of Josh Allen, but you could convince me of Patrick Mahomes, and you could also convince me of Russell Wilson.
Josh Allen. Josh Allen reminds me of Russell Wilson, the way that ball comes in.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Do it for a few more years, Josh. All right, this is his first decent year.
Oh, I know. I'm on there. No. But no, I'm not off Lamar Jackson. I'm all for Lamar.
He's 23.
I know. I have nothing. I think Lamar. I think Lamar will be fine. I think the Ravens will be fine. I'm really excited.
How many NFL teams would kill for Lamar Jackson to be their quarterback?
Well, it's kind of weird bringing up NFL teams and killing. But
I would bet 30 teams would literally kill to have him.
I would say
27 of them would, I guess, kill to have him.
Yeah. I'd say, not Seattle, not Kansas City, and not Buffalo.
Everybody in our division would kill for him.
Of course they would. Yeah. The Steelers are still rolling out Big Ben.
On one leg.
I think it's really interesting how the NFL has quickly transitioned to this mobile quarterback. As being like mobile quarterbacks are now, it seems like most of the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And the pocket Brady's, the pocket Big Ben's is kind of old school way of playing. I think that's really intriguing and exciting for the future of the NFL.
I don't think so. I think we're seeing a little blip of running quarterbacks. I mean, you look at Trevor Lawrence, he's coming out, the number one pick. He's a pocket passer. I think it's just kind of this ebb and flow. Like, we just got a bunch of runners, and now we're going to get a bunch of pocket passers, and I think it'll go back and forth. Because
I think we're going to see this merge of great runners that are also good pocket passers. And I think
who is that? Who would you say is
Mahomes,
that?
Russell Wilson, Mahomes. I think it's taken this quarterback position and it's reinventing it
into a super athletic kid. Yeah.
Into the new next generation. Like, this is what your quarterback is. I think it's it might be the whole fact of super focused on sports growing up, where like you're only playing one position, like you're being groomed to be a quarterback in the NFL. We talk about it a lot with baseball, how you stop playing basketball, and that's a bad thing.
Well, and I think it can change. It can start with the NFL and trickle its way down, or the reverse, where what you're looking for in a quarterback changes, right? Where if you had a super fast kid, you weren't maybe immediately put him in the quarterback position. Maybe you look for just the guy with the biggest arm, but now all of a sudden you just look for different traits in a quarterback.
True. Yeah, a few weeks ago, ESPN. It's also who you admire. Like when we were kids, and you would do the Cal Ripken Batten stance or the Mickey Tettleton high and tight. You would copy your stars. Yeah. And you copy who you would like. And they did a story on ESPN a few weeks ago about the spin move and Lamar being and the spin move. And they were talked to like a figure skater about how tight Lamar's spin is or whatever, and that was silly. But then they went and they talked to Pee-wee football coaches in Baltimore County, and they were showing how the kids are all now trying the spin moves. In every game, you've got the kid trying a spin move. Right. Because they see Lamar do it, and they see that the spin move works, and then they break it, and it's just an exciting play. Yeah. So you're going to see kids growing up watching Lamar, watching Patrick Mahomes, watching Russell Wilson, and that's going to grow this next generation. It's like any of the linebackers in the NFL right now, and they tell you, I grew up idolizing Ray Lewis. Right.
Yeah. Though, of course, less people will watch that and see Lamar Jackson because the ratings are down 10%.
Yeah, we got to feel. Well, maybe. If Lamar Jackson's doing cool stuff, it'll show up on TikTok.
Yeah. They'll see the highlights. No, exactly. Apparently, if that's the case, then everyone's going to try to be like Trace McSorley or whatever, because apparently he's the TikTok king.
I heard something about that. Yeah. But I think he wasn't managing it himself or something. Oh, saw Adley Rushman trying to get something going on TikTok this week as well. Yeah, that's where all the kids are.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. He turns out was one of the dumbest videos I've ever seen, and all of a sudden everyone's retweeting the Adley Rushman saying, "I love this kid. He's awesome." Yeah. For a dumb little lip syncing video.
Don't understand. Do you have TikTok on your phone?
I don't. No.
Good. The Chinese can't invade your phone.
Yeah, it's all right. A lot of other people can invade my phone, but yeah, not the Chinese.
Right. Yeah. The Americans are all over controlling your phone.
Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg is all over it.
Yeah. Right. I would like Mark Zuckerberg to stop my phone from asking me if I want to register to vote.
Ooh, there's a way to do that.
I've got that taken care of.
Yeah, Facebook is half my posts are now how to disable that.
I have seen that too, but I haven't gone through and done it. Yeah, maybe Facebook, we're all tired of being asked to vote. If we cared about voting, we would have done it by now. Did you vote yet?
No, everyone telling me to vote makes me not want to vote. You know my personality. Everyone tells me to do something. My American response is to not do it, to stick it to the man. So I'm going to post it on Twitter that I'm not voting and just see what people say.
I mailed my absentee ballot in today. This morning.
Oh, did you?
I mailed it. Yep. So now everyone can leave me alone. I voted.
But did you post it on Facebook that you voted?
Yeah. Am I supposed to make my own I voted sticker to post online?
Oh, you don't even have a sticker? Then I don't know if it's legit.
Right.
Were you one of the ballots that ended up in the dumpster behind my house? Was that one of your ballots?
In the ditch? Maybe so.
And in a ditch?
In the river or lake or whatever? Yeah. I don't know.
No, I'm going to go up and punch the card in person.
Yeah. I would have do that, but Florida people are so stupid. So I said, I'm just going to do this and be done with it.
You hear what our governor did? He did a write-in for the president.
Ronald Reagan.
He wrote in Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that's a way to throw your vote away.
You think it's voting away? But what if Ronald Reagan picks up enough traction? I might be inspired to vote for Ronald Reagan. What if enough people do, Josh?
What do we dig them up?
Do you exhume the body and just...
Has technology gotten to that point yet? I'm not sure.
I bet you could pull enough data off the internet of Ronald Reagan to kind of make decisions based on what he would kind of do.
I bet
kind of a computer AI version.
I bet there's some hobo in Cecil County named Ronald Reagan.
Who's gonna be the next president of the United States?
That's me.
Yeah.
I hate the two-party system, but I think if you're doing a write-in, then it's like, I don't know. I say you got to vote for – I don't like the vote, throw your vote away type vote.
Yeah, I disagree completely. I think as an American, you have the right to vote for whomever you want to vote for.
True, but if you write Ronald Reagan on your card, you're not allowed to post it online. Apparently, that's illegal to post a picture of your ballot online. So then, and what's the point? How do you make your point? Like, to me, you just wasted 6 hours waiting in line to go vote.
But Josh, the same argument.
Now, hopefully, you're voting on the other stuff. Like, we had some few like ballot issues in Florida. I don't know. Have you looked at what your ballot issues are?
Oh yeah,
in
one
Maryland?
of our ballot issues that's relevant to our show is betting on sports in Maryland.
Ooh. Why was that not on the Florida ballot? How do we not have betting here? I got to check on that. All right, so you're voting yes for that.
I don't know.
Ours was raise the minimum wage, require you to be a citizen to vote, and something else.
Wear a mask. No, Josh. The thing about it is, I could argue that if no matter what I vote for, if I vote for a Republican, I'm throwing away my vote in Maryland because the Democrats is going to win, because they always win. So Biden will win Maryland no matter what I vote for. So why wouldn't I just vote with my conscience and vote for the person I literally think would be the best person?
Yeah, Snoopy.
Yeah, or Harambe.
Wonder how. I bet Lamar Jackson will get a bunch of votes in Maryland.
Well, that's what even last year with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Like there was still like Harambe was a big write-in.
Right.
Maybe Donald Duck was a big write-in. Like there was a lot of write-ins.
Yeah, that's true.
Even the last election.
I do think it's kind of cool that I'm in Florida, so I feel like my vote counts.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. I made sure to color in my bubbles nice and thick, so there'll be no hanging Chad moment on my ballot.
It's true. There would be a different, I think, moral and ethical discussion I would have in my head if I was voting in a swing state compared to voting in a state where I know which way it's going.
I think you're right. I agree.
That might be true for me.
Yeah, and it's not even a comment on the Electoral College. It's just how it is, and years of saying of that, and like how do you make change if your little vote every 4 years doesn't seem to make much of an impact.
Yeah.
I guess it would be by going and voting on what your vote does matter on is those silly things that people don't read a lot for, like voting in for gambling in Maryland.
Yeah, and listen,
like
we got 3 Board of Ed positions that I've never paid attention to Board of Ed spots, but now being a teacher and seeing all this nonsense around coronavirus and how people are handling it in silly ways, I'm definitely paying attention and voting for Board of Ed members, which I never would have cared about that before.
Right.
So I think, on a very local level, it can matter a lot. Yeah.
And the truth is, local politics affect you way more than national politics.
Yeah. This Board of Ed's going to affect me in the next few years more than probably a Donald Trump or a Joe Biden.
Yeah. We focus on presidential election simply because of the millions of dollars that they spend on advertising. When we should focus on is local elections.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think advertisement has a huge issue on why I pay attention to Trump and Biden going at it. Freaking entertaining.
Well, it's different because this year is like a constant attack mode.
I mean, in an age where all sports ratings going down, on Thursday, that debate between Trump and Biden, that rating is going to be the highest of any presidential debate in the history of the world. I don't know.
It will be, and I guarantee that more than half of my friends will post on social media, I can't watch it anymore.
Yeah, they're going to be hate watching or something.
And you know what they do? They'll say, I'm not watching it anymore. I'm turning this off. And you know what they do? Keep watching.
Well,
they just need to post on social media that they stopped watching.
Yeah, maybe it's all those fans who are not watching the NFL either that aren't causing the ratings to go down are the same people who are not watching the debates and the ratings go up. So I don't apologize for watching the debates. They're for the next president of the United States.
Is that Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
All right, and I saw they got mute buttons now.
Oh, do they?
So that'll be fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And the moderator has the power to mute?
during the 2 minutes of like uninterrupted time, apparently.
Oh, sweet.
I just saw that before we did the show.
Sweet. I need to get that in my classroom, a mute button. That's what the greatest thing about virtual learning.
You have a mute button, thanks to Zoom.
I know the greatest thing about virtual learning is Zoom. I can mute people or kick them out at will. Now, I need that in person. I need an in-person mute button when kids come back to school.
Right. How many people are playing like, I know you used to allow your kids to play Call of Duty like when they finished their schoolwork in class. On their phones or whatever. How many kids are playing Fortnite now while you're teaching them?
I've not seen a student's face in a week. I mean, all I get is
they don't have to turn on their cameras?
They don't. I can strongly request that they do, but I can't make them. And so...
is that a Maryland thing? Like, why do I keep seeing news stories of, like, this person got suspended because of what he wore on virtual camera, or this person had a gun in the background, so there's a big issue?
Well, yeah, and that's part of the reason why, like I'm kind of okay with it, right? Because I don't know what I'll see in the background anyway of these screens.
Right.
So that's part of it. But yeah, and so when their camera's off, I have no idea what they're doing.
You have, and I guess you don't have audio, so you don't hear them.
Yeah, like I throw in a bunch of questions to ask for feedback to make sure like they're still, they didn't leave the room or something. But
yeah, that's annoying. That's got to be a pain for you as a teacher.
It's not ideal, Josh. It is not ideal.
When are schools opening back up?
November 9th for us. So.
Convenient, right after the election?
Right after the election. It was actually, the plan was they were voting to have it open up the week of election. And then, like, someone was like, oh, crap, schools are closed 3 days that week. We should wait till the next week. And they're like, all right, what's the next week?
Yeah, of course. Why would you open it up there? Schools are like the number one election.
Yeah, and then that's also the end of the quarter, so schools are closed for the end of the quarter.
Okay.
So that's just
all right, cool. So Maryland and California open up schools right after the election.
Yeah, I mean, some counties. Talbot right next to me, and here at Eastern Shore, they opened up today. So each county is different.
Talbot County reminds me of Florida.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. I'm glad other counties are doing it first. To kind of be guinea pigs. Let's see what happens to you all, and then we'll try. All right, boys and girls, we talked sports TV ratings. We talked Joe Flacco. We even got a little Lamar Jackson talk and Orioles talk in there.
Yeah, we were all over the place today.
Yeah.
You know what I haven't shared about in a while is our 336ers.
Yes.
So our 336er of the week is Sam Abate, who's been a 336er for a long time.
Love Sam, yeah.
But he recently went to 336er.com, and which goes straight to our Patreon page, and where he is now, like many other 336ers, helping us out with $3.36 a month to keep this show going. So thank you, Sam, and all of our other 336ers. And thank you for considering going out and doing that and helping us out. It's a huge help for this little show.
Yep. And if you don't want to support us financially, you can always write us a review on iTunes. We appreciate the 5-star rating and the comments. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Section336. You can follow Josh on Twitter
at Josh Soroka.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's and go Rays.